welcome back and welcome to another compilation of reviews videos. It's been a while since I've done one of these where I give you kind of reviews of 5 books that I've read recently, but I read a kind of clump of young adult contemporary novels and I was like, I'm going to make a video talking about these. So I have 5 reviews, short reviews for you here. Hopefully this video won't be too long. Very quickly, I do have a slight black eye here. It's not that I put makeup on one side and not on the other. I know if I was watching a video and I saw this, it would bug me, so I thought I would just address that very quickly. I just hit my head and it all came down here. So let's dive right in. Like I say, I'm going to try and be concise, whether I would recommend the book or not and why. So the first of these is Jack of Hearts and Other Parts by L.C. Rosen. This was the first book I read in the month of May and I highly recommend this one. I love the fact that this book is incredibly sex positive. I love the fact that our narrator and main character is out and proud, but also the fact that he is a young person and finds that he really doesn't know it all. I really love the fact that this book explores the judgment that people can put on us and the judgment that we can put on ourselves, even if we think or they think that we are open-minded. I also love the fact that this book format is various sex advice columns interspersed with the goings on of what happens in Jack's life. Little warning that if you are sensitive to a lot of talk about sex and sexual activity, this one might not be for you. It is very open, very honest, very candid. And that's one of the things I loved about it. So then one that wasn't such a hit for me, and I really wanted to read this one, but I did it on audiobook and it just, kind of didn't meet my expectations, and that is The Opposite of Always by Justin Reynolds. I do like the romance in this book and I do like the concept of a kind of Groundhog Day where, again, our protagonist Jack lives the same day over and over again. So it says, this is a book about 2 teens who fall in love over cereal, about a boy stuck in a time loop and the moments that make a life worth reliving. So I was excited for the concept of looping back, but for me, it just took too long to get to that first loop back. And then once we'd looped back, it kind of took a little bit too long to loop back again. I mean, this book is over 400 pages. It's, quite small, large print. But I did it on audio and I just felt like it dragged a little bit. I think that if the pacing had been a bit better, I would have been a little more invested. But I found that by the time I got to the end of kind of the second time I'd heard the story, I was a little bit over the romance. I wasn't kind of rooting for it the same way as I often find myself doing in this kind of book, in, our young adult romance novels. And so, I think it was a little bit too long and the pacing could have picked up a little bit and I would have cared more about these characters. So it's a shame that I was disappointed in this one because I was very excited for reading it. But okay, so this one I personally wouldn't recommend, but I know a lot of other people have loved it. So then let's go for another one that I loved. A slight change of genre here, because this one is a young adult thriller. This is Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. This one was recommended to me by Beautifully Bookish Bethany, who read it and loved it. I also did this one on audio. I think all of these I actually ended up doing on audio or part physical book. I did this one entirely on audio though. And this one just surprised me so much. There were so many twists and turns and I didn't see the development or the ending coming. I love the concept of there being a sort of finishing school, boarding school type thing where girls are almost being like taught to be Stepford wives, but things get a whole lot darker and things get a whole lot more sinister than that. I like the fact that we find out all that's going on through the eyes of our main character rather than kind of watching from a third person perspective. I feel like we lived it with her. And can we just take a moment just to appreciate the cover here and the back cover as well. I think she looks a little bit like Aubrey Plaza. Yeah, I feel like I can't say too much about this book because I don't want to give any spoilers. But if you're looking something that's a thriller, but a little bit lighter than some of the adult thrillers I've talked about on this channel, so young adult thriller, something that will keep you guessing and something with lots of twists and turns, little mini reveals throughout. It starts off as one thing and ends up as a whole different board game. Yeah, and this says Girls with Sharp Sticks book 1 as well. So I'm excited to hear what comes next from this one. Definitely recommend this one to you. Then one that again fell a little bit short of my expectations. This one I hadn't seen anything about. I just saw it in the library and it looked like my kind of thing. If you've been following the channel for a while now, you will know that I love to make a book versus movie video, and I also make weekly movie reviews videos for the movies that I see in cinemas every week. I'm a big cinema goer as well as a big reader, and so when I saw this book is not yet rated and saw that it was about a movie theatre, of course I picked it up. And then I picked up the physical book and kind of started it, and then my hold on the audiobook came through, so I ended up listening to some more of it on audiobook even though I started it in physical form, and then was able to click back a little bit as well. So this one concerns it's the Green Street, I couldn't remember the name. The Green Street Cinema in Minneapolis is going to be closed because it's kind of fallen into disrepair, and the guy who owns the building is selling it so that they can put up condos, luxury condos. And we follow Ethan trying to save the cinema. One of his childhood friends went off to Hollywood to become a film star. She comes back in the picture, so that's where we get a bit of romance coming in. This is definitely just young adult contemporary romance. But again, a bit like The Opposite of Always, it just fell slightly short for me. I felt like some of the stuff could have been a little bit more developed. We have a lot of emphasis placed on their efforts to keep the cinema open, when I wanted to know more about Ethan and more about his relationships with all the other characters, whereas I feel like we just kind of go around in a circle talking about how the movie theatre has to be saved. I like the fact that it makes lots of film references and makes lots of kind of classic, well-regarded film references, as well as some cult and some indie film references as well. I like the setting. I like the fact that it's set in Minneapolis, and I like the cinema setting as well. So yeah, I did like things about this book, and I liked the premise behind it, but it just fell a little bit short. This one wasn't too long, which is good, but I wasn't kind of desperate to get back to reading it like I was with Girls with Sharp Sticks or Jack of Hearts and other parts. So yeah, not a hard recommend from me. Yeah, wouldn't recommend this one. And then finally, the one that I have literally just finished. This book is absolutely beautiful, and unfortunately I have the library copy of it, so I can't really show you the inside of the book. However, can we see through there? How gorgeous is that naked book? So it's basically like the back cover, but all throughout. And this is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. And this book was just so good. It just evoked feelings in me from the word go and right the way through. I completely forgot to call my mum today because I was busy listening to this book, and I wanted to find out what was happening and find out what was going to happen next. So we have Imani Santiago, and she is a teen mom and she is an aspiring cook. And I love that those are kind of like the two things that we explore throughout the book. We explore how she feels about being a teen mom, and she talks about back to when she was in school and she was pregnant and how it affects her life now. But she talks about her ambitions for the future. She doesn't have a lot of money. She lives with her grandmother. Her father isn't really in the picture. And so we see her taking this culinary class. She has a really good friend who's also gay. She has a possible love interest. And she kind of has tension with the father of her daughter. She has some tension with a couple of the teachers. And so all of this just mixes together for like the kind of just perfect balance of all those things throughout the novel. I wanted to spend time with her. I wanted to hear what she was cooking next. I wanted to find out if there was going to be any romance develop. I wanted to find out if she was going to get into college. I wanted to find out if she was going to pass her culinary skills class. I wanted to find out if she was going to be able to get the money to go on a trip to Spain to go and apprentice with some chef. And yeah, like I say, the balance was just perfect. I loved finding out about her. I loved spending time with her in the story. It takes place over a great period of time. The pacing is just excellent. It just made me want to keep reading. I think even if I hadn't done it on audiobook, which is read by the author, I think I still would have wanted to keep reading and keep turning the pages. And again, it's not the biggest font, so it's going to be a quick read however you do it. And the book itself is beautiful, and each of the chapter headers, look, have the different foods as well. Like, how cool is that? It's just beautiful. I really enjoyed this book, and this is definitely a hard recommend. So I've talked about the 5 books in just over 12 minutes. That's not too bad. 5 books there. 3 of them definitely recommend. 2 of them don't recommend. I hope you enjoyed this balance of me talking about not just books I absolutely loved, but books I didn't like so much and why I liked or didn't like them. I had one young adult thriller in there. I know a few of you have asked me to talk about thrillers a little bit more in here, so I hope that satisfied a little bit of that. I will be back with another video soon for you, so make sure you are subscribed so that lands in your subscription feed. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment letting me know a recommendation that you think I should read based on what I liked and didn't like about these books. And I will be back with another video soon. Thank you so much for watching.